You heard every word, yet your brain erased them before they could even stay with you. Someone speaks for 30 seconds, then asks a simple question, and panic quietly begins. You search your memory, but the conversation already feels strangely out of reach. Most men instantly assume they were distracted, careless, or simply bad listeners. The truth is much more fascinating than almost anyone ever realizes about memory. Your brain may have filtered those words long before memory had time to work. That tiny moment reveals a hidden psychological process happening every single day. It explains why some conversations disappear almost as quickly as they actually begin. Once you understand what your mind is really doing, guilt starts losing its grip. Because forgetting what you heard is rarely the problem you believe it really is. Your ears are working perfectly, but your brain is already busy doing something completely different. While someone is speaking, your mind is silently solving problems you never chose to think about. You judge their expression while planning your reply before they have even finished talking. You replay something that happened yesterday while worrying about what comes later today. Your attention becomes divided long before memory ever gets the chance to do its job. Psychologists call this cognitive load, and almost everyone experiences it without noticing. Working memory can only hold a small amount before important details begin slipping away. The more mental traffic you carry, the less space remains for new information to stay. This is why hearing every word never guarantees that your brain actually stores them. Listening is far more than sound, because attention decides what memory is allowed to keep. Your brain constantly chooses what deserves space and what quietly disappears forever. Most conversations lose that competition because they never feel urgent enough to protect. The words arrive, but your overloaded mind quietly lets them pass without resistance. You never consciously decide to forget because the decision happens beneath awareness. That hidden filter explains far more than poor listening habits ever possibly could. The strange part is your brain is not trying to remember everything that reaches your ears. Instead, it constantly asks one ruthless question before storing anything inside your memory. Does this information matter enough to help me survive, solve, or understand something important? If the answer feels uncertain, the brain quietly allows those words to disappear almost instantly. This is called selective attention, and it protects you from drowning in endless information. Every single day, your mind ignores thousands of sounds, conversations, and tiny meaningless details. That invisible filter keeps your brain efficient, but sometimes it also creates frustrating moments. A simple sentence without emotion, surprise, or personal meaning rarely survives that mental filter. Your memory prefers stories, emotions, patterns, and connections instead of isolated spoken words. That is why you remember how someone made you feel more than what they actually said. The conversation leaves an emotional footprint even after the exact wording completely disappears. This is not a flaw because your brain was designed to remember meaning before language. It values useful patterns far more than perfect recordings of everyday conversations. The better you understand this hidden system, the less personal those memory failures become. Forgetting what you just heard often begins with what your brain never chose to keep. What makes this even stranger is that the missing words were never truly your biggest distraction. Many men are listening with their ears while arguing with themselves inside their own minds. A quiet inner voice keeps asking, "What should I say?" or "What should I do after this?" That constant mental narration steals attention before memory has time to build anything lasting. Psychologists have studied this pattern, and the results appear again and again across research. The more you prepare your response, the less you remember from the person still speaking. Your thoughts become louder than the voice standing directly in front of you each time. Without realizing it, you stop receiving information and start rehearsing your next move instead. The conversation continues, but your attention has already quietly left the room behind. This explains why you often remember your own thoughts better than someone else's words. It feels like poor listening, But the real problem begins much earlier than that. Your attention was captured by an invisible conversation happening entirely inside your head. The missing memory is often the final result instead of the actual cause itself. Understanding this difference changes the way you judge yourself after every forgotten conversation. Sometimes the loudest voice you hear is the one that never spoke out loud. The pattern becomes even stronger when life fills your mind long before anyone starts talking. Stress quietly occupies attention, even when you believe you are fully present in the moment. Your brain keeps scanning unfinished tasks instead of absorbing the conversation before you. Many men carry invisible mental checklists that never truly stop running throughout the day. That constant background pressure slowly steals the focus needed to create lasting memories. The more responsibility you carry, the more your attention becomes divided without warning. Mental exhaustion rarely announces itself because it simply makes ordinary moments disappear. You may look completely engaged while your brain quietly struggles beneath the surface. This is why forgotten conversations often increase during stressful periods of everyday life. The problem is not your intelligence, because it is your overloaded attention asking for relief. Your memory cannot store information that your attention never fully receives in the first place. This hidden burden explains why forgetting often feels worse after long, demanding days. The mind protects itself by reducing what it believes is less immediately important. That survival habit keeps you functioning, but quietly weakens your ability to remember words. Sometimes the conversation is forgotten because your mind was already carrying too much. Here is the surprising part, because you probably remember far more than you actually realize. You may forget the exact words, but still remember the feeling they quietly created inside you. You remember the emotion, the expression, and the meaning long after the sentences disappear. Your brain naturally stores experiences instead of recording conversations like a machine would. It keeps the message while allowing the exact wording to slowly fade into the background. That is why one meaningful moment can stay alive even after every sentence is forgotten. People often mistake missing words for missing care, but those things are rarely the same. Your memory simply chooses deeper impressions over perfect verbal accuracy every single time. This hidden preference explains why stories stay with you longer than ordinary conversations. The brain builds lasting memories through meaning instead of memorizing every spoken detail. You can strengthen this process by repeating important ideas before the moment passes away. Creating simple mental connections also gives new information somewhere meaningful to belong. Those small habits work because they help your brain recognize what deserves protection. Memory becomes stronger when attention and meaning finally begin working together as one. The goal was never perfect recall because it was always genuine understanding instead. Understanding your mind changes everything about the way you judge your own memory forever. Forgetting what you just heard rarely means you were careless or simply did not care enough. It usually means your attention was already fighting battles no one else could actually see. Once you stop blaming yourself, you finally create space to improve the way you listen. Real change begins when you understand the hidden cause instead of attacking the symptom. The strongest memory is built through presence before it is built through repetition alone. Train your attention first, and your memory will naturally become far more reliable over time. Your brain was never working against you because it was always trying to protect you. The more you understand your psychology, the more control you gain over your everyday life. Subscribe now for more psychology insights that reveal the hidden reasons behind human behavior.